I was asked to do the inspirational moment, I thought, here we are in a tiny blue dot circled by hundreds of planets and stars in our galaxy, surrounded by the vastness of the universe. So how can I say we make a difference? So when I thought about that, I said, well, when you consider the vastness of the outer space and our role in it, you can see over the years that Rotarians have been touched thousands and millions of lives and have saved lives and changed them. We're in the final stages of eradicating polio off the face of the earth. We are enabling citizens in hundreds of countries the ability to work collectively to provide safe drinking water, sanitation, education for their children, and at the same time, we're fighting diseases in developing countries. We're also bringing hope where there was none before, emergency care to those in need, and understanding to the complex issues facing mankind as a whole. That, my friends, are major accomplishments and something that you can be proud of and reflect on. Remember the difference between extending a helping hand and outstretched hands with the palms up, asking for help, is only the twist of your wrist. Thank you for extending your hand of friendship, care, understanding, and hope to others in need. Thank you.
Enjoy some fellowship and lunch. I just saw Alvis is in the building, so Andre will join us shortly. Thank you so much.
And they meet in Empire, Colorado. And they gave me this wonderful shirt. It's not that I'm a Bronco fan yet, but it was a privilege to be with those kids. And so it's awesome to see Rotary at work. The Ryla camp, the opportunity we give these 250 kids in 2 different weeks, one 250, another week 250, just here in Colorado. And then what we do with these Ryla Plus, this was 15 kids this morning. So I think we should be very proud of the work that Rotary does, especially now with these kids that are differently abled. Okay, let us see now. And my... Oh, yes, Giles Paulson. Are you around? Giles here for the Secretary's report.
Thank you, President Andre. Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. Welcome to today's meeting. We have a couple of guests that I'd like to recognize. A guest of our speaker, Wendy Mayorals from Kroenke Sports Entertainment. A guest of Bill West is Brooke Dexter. She's attending the University of Michigan for Architectural Master's Program. I have a number of reminders. Thank you again to Sean Gatson with UMB Bank for hosting July's Rotary Connect Happy Hour. Denver Rotary's second annual Golf Fellowship at Pinehurst is being hosted by Young Cho, and he will be contacting probably each and every one of you to see if you're a golfer. That will be August 17th. We need 80 people to make this happen. So please get a hold of Young if you'd like to participate. And thank you, Young. And don't forget, this Saturday is the Denver Rotary Peach Pickup Day and the Pancake Breakfast at DCIS. We will be starting at 8 a.m. and peaches can be picked up until noon. The Rotary Breakfast starts at 8 a.m. and lasts until 11. There are additional boxes of peaches that are available if you haven't placed your order yet. So you can come down Saturday morning and place an order for peaches and pick them up then. Our second edition of the Peach Cobbler Cookbook has been put together by Debbie Kaufman. Thank you, Debbie. I read through this last night. Very interesting. Peaches originated in China. So it's very interesting to read. Pick one of those up. And thank you again, Debbie, for all the great work that you do. The last reminder, save the date for the Wild Animal Sanctuary Rotary Family Outing on September 19th. This will be in lieu of our regular meeting, September 17th, so look for event registration early next month. Some news from our Rotary family. It is with great sadness we inform you that Jim Wilkins' beloved wife and dear Rotary friend, Scotty, passed away August 4th. Her memorial service is set for Saturday, August 8th at 2 p.m. at Trinity United Methodist Church, 1820 Broadway. Fellow Rotarian and Senior Pastor Michael Dent will be conducting her services. A reception to follow, and memorials may be made to 4 Mile Park. It is also with great sadness that we inform you of Evelyn Hottenstein's long-term partner, Tommy Hoggs, passing on Saturday, July 25th. A memorial is being held on August 22nd at 1 p.m. at the First Universalist Church, 4101 East Hampton Avenue in Denver. Please keep Jim and Evelyn and their families in your thoughts and prayers through these trying times. Thank you all. Andre, back to you.
Thank you very much. Now, if we could have Jim McFall come forward, please, and for a memorial resolution.
This is a memorial resolution for David E. Fleming. Before I start, I'd like to introduce his wife, Lois, that's with us today, his niece, Carol Markley, and her husband, Chris Markley. They're our guests today. Our Rotary friend and past president, David Fleming died August 6, 2015. David was 95. A retired architect, civil and structural engineer. He died shortly after a short illness at Mill Vista Lodge in Highlands Ranch, Colorado. David was our 78th president, serving in 1987 to 88, a very historic Rotary year on several levels. In the first month of his term, members of the Rotary Club of Denver voted to admit women to the club. I didn't hear anything. Also, during his presidency, he and his daughter administered the polio vaccine to his grandson as a kickoff for meeting in support of Rotary International's worldwide funding campaign to eradicate polio. This act symbolized Denver Rotary's commitment to raise $500,000 for Polio Plus, an amount in which we exceeded. It was also during this year our 75th anniversary book, A Club and Its City, was published. In generous support of both our foundation, Dave was a Gold Fellow of the Denver Rotary Club and a Paul Harris Fellow 8 times of the Rotary Foundation. In addition to serving as president, he also served on the board of directors in 1983 through 1985, as well as on many committees through his club tenure. Born in Creede, Colorado, the future president of the David E. Fleming Company graduated from Lyman High School, president of the senior class, center on the football team, and the valedictorian. He earned his BS in architectural engineering with special honors at the University of Colorado after serving as president of the university student body and being honored as commencement as cane bearer or outstanding male student. He was sent immediately by the Army Air Corps to the University of Chicago for a year of graduate study in the Department of Meteorology, emerging in 1944 to be assigned to a remote outpost in Labrador as a weather officer. He returned to Denver in 1946 and was employed in the office of the Chief Engineer, U.S. Bureau of Reclamations for 11 years. He was a supervisory engineer when he left to enter private practice in 1958 as a principal in the firm of A.J. Ryan and Associates, consulting engineers. He was an engineer on many national defense work, including NORAD, Combat Operations Center at Cheyenne Mountain. He held similar responsibilities with Ketchum, Conkle, Ryan, and Fleming of Denver for 3 years before opening his own firm, the David E. Fleming Company, in 1966. His firm handled numerous major projects in various fields of civil engineering. Of note was one-of-a-kind computer simulation program for modeling any river basin. Mr. Fleming was a fellow of the American Society of Civil Engineers and was chairman of its 1966 Water Resource Engineering Conference. He held the presidency of the Metropolitan Chapter and the Colorado Chapter of the Professional Engineers of Colorado, the Consulting Engineers Council of Colorado, and chairmanship of the University of Colorado Engineering Development Council. He was elected a member of the Commission for Certification of Consulting Engineers of Colorado, and he was a member of the National Panel of Arbitrators of the American Arbitration Association and served on the University of Colorado Foundation Board of Advisors. Survivors include his wife, Lois of Highlands Ranch, 2 children, Shelley David Black of Evergreen, Dee Stife of Albuquerque, and 2 grandchildren, Devin and Colleen. Graveside services were conducted at Fort Logan National Cemetery. Day was a man long recognized by his peers and served as a mentor to more than he might have known. Well-traveled, well-read, and well-loved, he will be well missed. We have lost a treasure. Mr. President and fellow Rotarians, I move the adoption of this memorial for David Fleming by a standing vote of our membership.
Thank you very much. It's always so impressive when we hear the history of the members of this club. And I'm just blown away by the members. Thank you for all the years of service. Now, what Club 31 does best is to give away money. And that is something we enjoy so much to do. And we work hard at raising the money. And if Win Candera can come up, please, to make a presentation.
Good morning. I have the privilege and the pleasure of representing all of you and your donations to the Club Foundation. As you know, your generous support funds a variety of youth community projects, and I'm fortunate to be involved in 2 of them. One is the UMB High School Mentoring Program, and the other is Community Resources, Inc., which has a mentoring program for primarily elementary and middle school students. And that is what we are honoring here today. But before I introduce the most wonderful executive director of Community Resources, I'm going to put in a quick plug for the high school mentoring program. This is for the ladies. We need volunteer mentors for these wonderful, high-achieving, low-income juniors and seniors. You would be meeting for 1 hour a month to deliver a cash stipend, which is funded by all of us, and to support the student in their college applications. I have all of the males matched with Rotarians, so I just need a few more females. So if you're interested, please see me. So now to the star of the show. Sue Edwards is the Executive Director of Community Resources. She first became involved in 1990 as a member of the board, as a parent representative, and in 2001 was asked to serve as the president of the board of directors. She was then hired as the executive director in 2004. Prior to her involvement with Community Resources, she was a member of the Denver School Board from 1995 to 2003. So she is here to accept the check for $3,000 from all of us to support the Academic Mentors Program. So it's with great pleasure I give you this check.
I hate to argue with my board chair, but because Wynn is the chairman of the board of the directors for Community Resources now. But this is not about me. For God's sake, if I get to come next year and get a check, please promise me you won't say anything about me, because the most important part of what we do at Community Resources is about the kids. The most important thing that you at Rotary do is not give us money. It's not give the people, the other organizations money. It's you and the service that you give. I am so grateful for the Rotarians that have served as mentors, Ed and, now I'm going to forget all the names that I want, Doug McLemore and other folks that have served as mentors and volunteered in other capacities. You know, in this country, we talk about when you grow up, you can be anything you dream of. Just dream it and you can be it. But my friends, I tell you, and you know this, it doesn't happen that easily. The chasms between where the kids are in our schools who have dreams of being something someday. They dream of being working in the field of robotics or in animal rehabilitation or in interplanetary travel. Whatever their dream is, the chances of them realizing that dream, the chasms between where they are and where they dream of being are so huge. And that's why the Academic Mentors Program that you help to support makes such a difference in the lives of those kids. It starts to build bridges from where they are to where they dream of being. It lets them have the opportunity to shadow and work in the workplace, to see what that career is really like, to learn about what it takes to become that, where you need to go to school, what type of education you need, etc. You make such a difference. This grant, and I have to tell you that there are way more students that are nominated and qualified for the Academic Mentors Program than we can reach. The waiting list begins, well, we can take 80 students as it sits right now. This will make it 86. So this will enable 6 more students to have a mentorship. The list is so long. So I would close by 2 things. Number 1, thanking you for what you do, for being willing to mentor. Keep an eye on the Keyway, because if we have trouble finding a mentor for someone, because it isn't, oh gosh, I could talk so long and I got to stop. If we are having trouble finding a mentor, we will put something in the Keyway saying, hey, do you know anyone that works in this field? Because we need to match them up. But the second thing is, if you're aware of any other sources of funding that might enable another student to be able to have a mentorship, I would be very grateful if you let me know. So community resources, financial resources, human resources, but the focus of it all is the future of our students. Thank you.
Isn't that awesome to see Rotary at work and put our money at great, great use? So very exciting. Thank you. Now, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes telling you, it's the doctor tells a patient and says, well, I got good news and bad news. The patient says, what is good news? He says, well, you got 24 hours to live. And the patient says, well, if that's the good news, what is the bad news? He says, well, I should have told you yesterday. So when your landlord comes to you and says, I've got great news, we're going to renovate the building, make sure you ask, what is the bad news? Because that is what we experienced. Our landlord for the office has come to us and said, well, we're going to renovate the building. And your rent is going to go up by 50%. And we, of course, knew that that was not in the cards. So Seth Patterson, Seth, are you here? Seth is not here. But Seth Patterson set out as a committee of one, and with a lot of help from Darlene, to find a new location. And he has done so. We have a new building. It's on Colorado Boulevard. I think it's on the west side, just north of Mexico. And the thing is that it's much, much humbler and smaller facilities. We're going to save money from what we were paying instead of paying 50% more. But to do that, we have to dig into the archives and into all of the stuff that we have collected through 104 years of history. We're going to have to make some very tough decisions. There's some stuff that we're going to keep and some stuff, and a lot of stuff we're going to have to get rid of. We just don't have the storage to keep it anymore. So here's my appeal. John Stewart, where are you, John? Over here. So John is helping, going through some of the history. We're going to divide the stuff into the must keep, would like to keep but we don't think we can, into the must destroy, into the we will get rid of. And there'll be stuff like, for instance, I think we still have like 200 baseballs from our events. And we have to get rid of stuff like that. And so it's going to be some very hard, painful decisions. He needs help. He needs help, people to going through boxes, getting stuff piled up and ready to go out. We have 2 weeks. We have 2 weeks to make this happen. So anybody that can do that. Melly Kennard is going to be introducing our speaker in a moment. I think she is the ultimate organizer. Maybe you can help us get organized and do that. So the move is imminent. We're very excited. We're going to save some money, but we're going to have to make some tough decisions. I talked to you at the beginning of the last month that relevance was going to be the key message for the year. And we're trying to make sure that we bring speakers and programs that are relevant to how Denver functions, how Colorado functions, how the United States and the world functions. So there'll be less subjects of general interest and more stuff of depth that'll make us think, maybe some controversy, and it'll be fun to do that. We also want to grow our business-to-business opportunities for our members. And to do that, we want to experiment with different trials and things. But the key thing here is if we are relevant, membership will solve itself. But we do have to work on membership. August is Rotary Membership Month. And to launch the month, we truly want to appeal to you and ask if you reach out to your friends, bring people to listen to our speakers, bring people to expose them to Rotary. Let them know about the great, great work that we do in our community. Denver Kids, we founded it 60 years ago, and we have funded it with millions of dollars over the years. And like when we do these distributions of checks, it is truly a privilege for us to be doing it. So help us out with that and get us some members. Help us in our membership drive. Come to the Thursday morning meetings. I think it's the the first Thursday of the month that we meet with membership. And come on over and bring us some ideas and bring us some members. That is truly how we're going to remain active so that we can be relevant. Now, Nelly Kennard, can you please come up and introduce our speaker?
I'm not real sure you'd want me involved in this process of getting rid of things because I can be really ruthless. We have with us today Matt Hutchings, and for 8.5 years he was Rotarian in Texas. And for such a young man, Matt has had quite a career. He is the COO and EVP of Kroenke Sports and Entertainment and President and CEO of Kroenke Media Ventures. For 2 years, he was in Houston as the President and General Manager of Comcast Sportsnet Houston. Matt was President and CEO of Altitude Sports and Entertainment, which Stan Kroenke started and grew to a 10-state sports network, home of the Nuggets, the Avs, Rapids, and Mammoth. He also lived internationally. In 1991, he moved his wife and 2 of his now 4 children to Hong Kong, and he launched Star TV Asia. The Colorado National Guard and the U.S. Army Department of Defense asked Matt to produce documentaries about the National Guard and the Army in Iraq and Afghanistan. He's also trained over 60 Iraqi journalists in southern Iraq. And we don't have nearly enough time to cover all that he's done. So here is Matt Hutchings.
Afternoon. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. So I was a Rotarian for 8.5 years in Texas, and if there's one thing any Rotarian knows, you better be done by 1 o'clock, because when it's 1 o'clock, people start leaving. So we used to tell our guests, don't get offended if people get up and leave. So I do know that. I'm assuming that holds true here in Denver as well. So we'll try to get through it. My assistant Wendy's here to help me today. So Wendy, thank you. And we'll try to move through this. And what I thought is we'd like to give you guys just an overview of Kroenke Sports. Kroenke Sports has been around since Mr. Kroenke purchased the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche back in, I believe it was 1999. Or 2000, and it's grown considerably since then. So first off, I apologize. You have to look at that picture right after lunch, but that's who I am. And as Melly said, that one of the things I'm very proud of is I was able to make 4 trips to Iraq and a trip to Afghanistan with my boss, Jim Martin, who's the president and CEO of KSE, and in bed with our fantastic troops with the Colorado National Guard, of which my son is also a member. So the military is near and dear to us, not only personally, but from corporately. So also want to thank anybody in here who's served our great country, and we appreciate your service and your dedication. So I've been with the company for really since 2003. I spent 8.5 years, was asked to go home to Houston, which is where I'm from, and help launch another sports network. It was a tough decision. I did it. I was lucky enough and blessed enough that Mr. Kroenke and Mr. Martin called me back in 2013 and asked me to come back, and I said absolutely. So I came back, and I've been home in Colorado for about 2.5 years. And just on a side note, when I went home to Texas, and I would tell people, well, I've just moved back from Colorado, every Texan I know looked at me and goes, why? And well, that's a good question. So anyway, I'm really happy to be back, and I love my organization, and I love the people I work with and I work for, and hopefully after this little presentation, you'll understand why I think we have one of the best organizations, not only in Denver, but also in the sports and entertainment industry, really within the world. So I'll help Wendy as we kind of work through this, and Q, give you a little bit of background on KSE. And I'm going to look down here as I kind of talk. So I don't know if everybody knows all what we do and who we are. As you can see up on the board, obviously we have the Nuggets and the Avalanche, the Rapids and the Mammoth. We own the Pepsi Center. We own the Paramount. We own Dick's Sporting Goods Park. We manage First Bank Center in Broomfield. We launched Altitude Sports in 2004. We have our own ticketing company, Altitude Tickets. We own 3 other television networks that are national and actually international television networks. That includes the Outdoor Channel, Sportsman Channel, and World Fishing Network. We own, you guys watch, anybody here watch football or any of the major sports? You see that camera that's floating down in the middle of the field? What's called aerial cameras. The 2 major ones in the world are called Skycam and Cablecam. We own that business. It's actually based out of Fort Worth, Texas. We own a company called WinterCon, which is based in Oklahoma. It's the largest producer of outdoor programming in the country. And what else? I think that's it. We actually, we do own one other facility down in Centennial, which is our network operations facility where we run and operate all of our television networks. And so we have a lot going on. And obviously, Mr. Kroenke is very active in real estate, so we have a lot of real estate here, not only in Denver, but in Colorado in general. We are the world's largest, we are the largest provider of sports and entertainment in Denver and in Colorado. And we provide a lot of entertainment opportunities, hopefully all of them good, for the citizens, not only of Colorado, but really the 10-state region. All right? We can go past this. As you'll see, we have the Pepsi Center. We'll talk a minute or two about the Pepsi Center in general. The Pepsi Center has over 200 events a year that we push through there. We have not only our sports, but we do a lot of concerts. There's a guy named Garth Brooks who came through here a couple months ago and did 9 shows. And there's only one other city in the United States that he's done that with. And I was happened to be in the room when they were going out and booking these concerts, and he almost did 10. I mean, he was close. And it's amazing how fast. At one point, we had 300,000 people queued up trying to buy tickets for Garth Brooks. It's pretty amazing. One of the things when you work at a facility like the Pepsi Center, people always ask, well, how many people can go there? And I always look and I say, it's around 19, 20,000. I don't really know. But there you go. There's our stats right there. Depending on the configuration, if it's an Avs game, if it's a Nuggets game, if it's a Mammoth game, if it's a concert, who it is, what they do, we can go anywhere between 18 and 20,000 people. And I think this next slide will talk about, one of the things too is some of you have been to the Pepsi Center in the past year or two. You may have noticed this kind of big thing in the middle of the arena, the Jumbotron. It is the largest Jumbotron, or we call it Pepsi Vision. It's the largest Jumbotron in an arena in North America. There's a lot of people up and coming trying to beat us, and they will at some point. But it's a pretty big television set, and it took us really a year to figure out, okay, how to use this, how do you maximize the entertainment value for folks in the Pepsi Center. One of the things, or several things that we're doing this summer to the Pepsi Center is we are installing, if you guys have been there, there's this ring that goes around kind of the center. We call that the fascia. That is old. That was about, well, I think that was put in when the Pepsi Center was built. We replaced that with a high-definition kind of state-of-the-art technology. We just finished rewiring the Pepsi Center for wireless internet, which for the most part will be allowing fans to have the best access and really to have the most interaction with our teams and with the events that there's there at the Pepsi Center when they're sitting in the arena. We are putting in, and it starts here, the installation has already started. There's a system called a projection system, and I think only 2 facilities in North America have it. I think we'll be the 3rd. And it really came out of the old Cirque du Soleil technology. And these are projector systems that sit up in the rafters and project down onto the ice. They were made mostly for hockey to begin with. And when you see this, if you go to a game, it'll blow you away because basically it's a 3D technology, and we'll do things with an opening, we'll do some events, and the projectors project this, and it looks like it's coming out of the ice. Our system also will be the first one ever to not only be utilized for hockey on ice, but also on the basketball court, and we're going to try it on the Mammoth on the green grass. It's really, really impressive, and we have the best cameras, and we actually have more cameras than anybody that will be in there. And so, again, one of our goals is to really up the entertainment value. When you pay money for a ticket to come to the Pepsi Center, not only do we want you to enjoy the event that you're at and support your teams, we want you to have the best experience. And we also have done upgrades on the concourse, putting TVs throughout the concourse. We have a great relationship with American Furniture, and so we've utilized our relationship with that to help grade our technology. And then the other thing that we're doing that you will see here, hopefully in the next few months, is we're trying to upgrade the lighting outside of the Pepsi Center. We want the Pepsi Center to kind of be a beacon in Denver and to really showcase what's happening there. And so Mr. Kroenke has approved, and we've started down that as well on creating, really lighting up the Pepsi Center is the easiest way to say it. So you're going to see it when things are happening there. It'll be really when you're driving down 25, Spear, Auraria, it's going to really stand out. And we really are excited to kind of have that be another important fixture in Denver. All right. Oh, and we put a curtain into the very top. That was the other thing that helps with the acoustics, and it helps with some of the bands that want to come and play at the Pepsi Center. They're too big for First Bank or some of the other venues, but they're too small for the 18 to 20,000 seat. So we put up a curtain in the very top ring, which allows us to kind of shrink down the Pepsi Center to maybe 10, 12,000, and that way people feel like they're playing to a full house. Okay, what else we have, Wendy? Here's some stats, and I won't go into all of them, but as you can see, we do a lot at the Pepsi Center. We have about over 2 million people that come to the Pepsi Center for our various events. Obviously, our core teams are the biggest drivers, and we love having people come in good seasons and bad, and we're going to have great seasons this coming year. We're excited about that. We can go to the next one. The demographics. This is interesting, and when I saw this the first time, I thought it might surprise you. You know, sports, you're thinking guys, right? It's 50-50, which we love. It's an important demographic for females and males, and obviously we have highly educated, high income earners, married. It really just supports what we're trying to do to create a really family and the best environment for entertainment. All righty. This breaks down to the events that we've done over the several years in terms of concerts and various things. I feel bad that we put Garth Brooks next to Lady Gaga, but she's kind of important. People like her. Go ahead. You can go to the next one. So we do a lot of events with the concerts and things, and then these are events that have already been booked for the coming year. There's a young lady named Taylor Swift, which some of you may have heard about. This thing that Disney did about a year ago called Frozen, which is kind of exciting. And you can see some of the fun events. We've got the NCAA, I think it's quarterfinals coming back to Pepsi Center. And so there's a lot. And that's just a tip of the iceberg. We have a great group that really is active in booking in those events. All right? One of the things, too, I want to, and you can leave it on this slide, Wendy, but just so you all know, the impact also in Denver is we have nearly 800 full-time employees with KSC here in Denver. We hire approximately another 800 contractors or part-time employees. And then we have all of our partners, our security, our parking, our cleaning, our stage hands, etc. And to do an event at Pepsi Center, on average, is about 1,000 people, bless you, is about 1,000 people a night. I mean, that's a lot of jobs and a lot of income and a lot of money that taxes and things that are putting back into the city of Denver and the county of Denver. We have, as I said, about 1,600 employees that are on our payroll just here in Denver. So there's a lot that we're very proudly contributing to the local economy. Okay, Dick's Sporting Goods Park. Dick's Sporting Goods Park was built, I think we did that in 2007, 2008. 2007. We opened with a big soccer game. It's the home of our Colorado Rapids. We won the MLS Championship Cup in 2010, I believe. And last week we had a little event out there known as the MLS All-Star Game. And it was a huge, huge success. I sit on the board for our representation to the league at the MLS, and I've been to several All-Star games. And the commissioner I was sitting with the commissioner, Don Garber, and Don and the entire league staff were blown away by what they saw here and how we treated them here in Denver, Colorado, and Centennial. It was outstanding. It was a huge event. It was sold out. It was broadcast nationally on Fox Sports, and it was a great game. Oh, and by the way, the MLS All-Stars beat the Tottenham Hotspurs, who are from the UK, and they're a pretty darn good team. So we were happy about that. It holds about 16,000 people. We have our games out there, but we also do a lot of concerts, and we do not only concerts at the event. We do things with utilizing all the property that we have around Dick's Sporting Goods Park, and also there's 24 youth fields out there. And being the father of 4 kids, I coach everything and have all my life, and I've been out there multiple times, and we've had events where we have teams. We have almost 500 teams that will come from across the country and sometimes internationally to compete in soccer tournaments, lacrosse tournaments, and it would be 3,000 to 5,000 people or kids that are entered. Well, multiply each of those kids by 2 or 3 or 4 family members. Again, it's a pretty significant impact in our local economy. And we love being a partner in that with our friends out at Commerce City and then also the city of Denver and the county. Okay, next one. Again, here's some demographics. All right, this kind of goes back to what you would assume sports would be, and that's all due respect to all the ladies in the room, because I know my wife's an avid sports fan, and so I know it's a good even mix, but this skews a little bit more to what I think the general public would assume, and that's with a higher population of men, again, high income earners, and really strong demographics. All righty. And there's Pablo with his mustache. He shaved that mustache off, and we started winning again. So while we love the mustache, and it was a huge trending topic on social media, I think everybody was happy for him to get rid of it when we started winning again. Pablo played for us for many years, was on the championship team, is a fantastic coach, a great family man, and it's just a great organization. And you can see the impact on what we do out at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. All right, other things that we can quickly go through. We have a partnership where we manage First Bank Center. We're in partnership with AEG, which is Ann Schutz's Entertainment Group, good partners, and also the city of Broomfield. But because this is our business and we're here locally, we do all the operational management. And that's a great venue. It's a smaller venue, and it fits nicely with a lot of acts or bands or events. We do a lot of high school graduations out there, not surprisingly. And that's a fun event to be a part of. Next is Paramount Theater. We own the Paramount Theater, and that's been around for a little while. Some of you, probably many of you have been here in Denver, know the Paramount Theater. It's an awesome venue. And we've been looking at, over the last couple of years, and we hoped at some point down the road to try to do some renovations there, because it's been around for a while. But it's a historic landmark. Thinking about Iraq again. Landmark, and it's got some really cool artwork and history in there. So hopefully one day we're going to be able to get in there and do some renovations and get it back to its glory days. But even now, it's a great venue to go see an event act. As some folks say that, bands that are coming up will play there and bands that are coming down will play there, with 2,500 to 3,000 people, but it's a great venue. Okay, so real quick, I'll kind of run through these because I know you guys know about them, and then I'll get out of it. But obviously we have our teams. You can just roll through these, Wendy. We have our Denver Nuggets, we're hoping are going to have a fantastic season this coming season. They've, like any team, they have their up and down, but we've made a really great trade or acquisition, and we're excited about the future for the Nuggets. We got a new coach, and we got a lot of new things happening for the Nuggets, and we're excited about the new season. The Avalanche, they came around last year. They had a great year the year before with a lot of young players, and I think talking to Peter McNabb, who was our announcer on Altitude, Peter said, I think what it was is they were young and they get into the second year and they kind of got surprised that things didn't kind of go as what they were expecting to do. To their credit and to Coach Waugh's credit in the front office with Joe Sakic and the team, they came around and they made a really good run for it right at the end, kind of kept us on the edge of our seats. But we'd like them to go ahead and confirm it earlier in the season so we know we don't have to get to the end to see if we're going to make the playoffs. Our hopes are that both of those teams are going to make the playoffs. And I always, when we are in meetings talking about planning, I said, well, let's let the 2 championship parades die down, and then we'll do some other things here in Denver. So we're excited about the opportunities that exist in the future of our teams. The next one is the Colorado Mammoth, which is a fun team. If you've never been to a Mammoth game, it's a cross between a rock concert, a lacrosse game, and like a WWE event, a wrestling event. It's crazy. When anybody who goes there, they leave and they go, that's incredible. It's a fun event. It's high energy, great team. We got some of the best players in the world in lacrosse who have been on and or are currently on our team. All right. You can just go ahead and move on to media because that's important. And I'll hurry up and finish up. I know I got to finish up. Media is important. We obviously have Altitude Sports, I think all of you know it's the home of the Denver Nuggets. It's home of all of our teams, and we do a lot of regional program that supports our local with high school, college football. We've kicked off several shows here just recently. We felt that our first responders, not only around the country, were getting really, really hammered on, and unjustly so. So we decided to do a show called First Responders. We kicked it off. We had an interview with Chief White and some other folks within the Denver community. Had huge response, and we're going to continue to do that to support our first responders. And when you go ahead and go on down, and that's the 10-state region that we actually go to. That's some of the shows that we have on Altitude. This is one thing I want to leave you with. I talked earlier about we also are in the outdoor business. So several years ago, we acquired the World Fishing Network. And then in 2013, Mr. Kroenke acquired the Outdoor Channel, which is a national channel hitting over 40 million homes. And then last year, we acquired the Sportsman Channel, which was its main competitor. And then we also, with that acquisition, we acquired 15 magazines and 17 websites that are all part of the outdoor space. Hunting, fishing, shooting, tactical, you name it, we're in it. Not only do I like to tell folks we walk the walk. I grew up hunting and fishing and being in the outdoors. I still do today. So does Mr. Kroenke and many of our senior management team. So we love what we're doing, and I can tell you that the acquisition by Mr. Kroenke and Kroenke Sports of these media assets went over huge within that space. People love that we've acquired them, and we've committed to them, and we've actually continued to grow things here in Denver with a lot of those employees and a lot of those the infrastructure to run all these businesses. All right, I'm going to cut it off there, and I was told, should I take a question or two? Nope, no questions, because I know probably you guys are going to ask about L.A., and I don't know anything about that. So that settles that. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Matt. Yeah, regretfully, we are out of time, but maybe if you can stay for an extra couple of minutes, so people can come up and ask you questions. But, you know, I'm on the board of the HLC, which is a Hospitality Learning Center at our area campus, and we have the Spring Hill Suites Hotel there. And that hotel is an unbelievable success, and it is because we're riding on the coattails of you guys and what you are doing. And tourism, I mean, the amount of people that you bring into town, it truly is an economic engine for Denver, and we love having you here. The one thing is that I heard we truly dodged a bullet, and we're so lucky that Pepsi came in and paid to get their name on it, because if McDonald's would have had it, it would be called the Macarena, and we'd be doing the Macarena there. You know, so.